These are the Leader bikes, Kagero and Renovatio, made in collaboration with pedal consumption. Both the Leader Kagero and Leader Renovatio are made of 7005 aircraft-grade double-butted aluminum. The Leader Kagero and Leader Renovatio both have oversized tubing, which leads to a great stiffness to weight ratio. So the Leader Kagero comes in two paint schemes, one of which is Oceanic Blue and the other is Phantom Pearl. The Leader Renovatio comes in one paint scheme, which is Raven Black. So the difference between the Leader Kagero and the Renovatio is the fact that the Leader Kagero is a low profile geometry, which means that the top tube is actually forward sloping and the head tube itself is shorter. So the geometry found on the Renovatio is a more traditional track geometry, where the head tube is a normal size and the top tube is actually horizontal with the ground. The main difference between the two as well is the wheelbase on the Kagero is just a little bit longer than the wheelbase on the Renovatio, thus making the Kagero more smooth throughout riding around, and yet the Renovatio is more twitchy and fast acting. We actually redesigned both forks to optimize the geometry on both frame sets. The forks are an aluminum steer tube with carbon fiber fork blades. So another major difference found from the Renovatio to the Kagero is on the Renovatio we have a hydroform seat tube which allows you to push your rear wheel even further forward into your frame, thus shortening the wheelbase. One thing that I wanted to cover with these frames is how to accurately measure them so you know which size to use. All Leader frames are measured from the center of the bottom bracket to the top of the seat tube, and then from the center of the seat tube to the center of the head tube. And that's how you'll find the correct size for you. So starting at the front with these bikes, they have integrated headsets. Apply a little bit of grease to the head tube, put the bearings in, and you can slide the fork through. You can put as many spaces as you'd like underneath or above your stem, but what you're gonna have to do after that is mark it and cut off the excess steer tube from the fork. Once you've cut off the excess steer tube from your fork, you can then fully assemble your front end. Now that the front end is all put together, I'll work my way back to the bottom bracket, put some grease in your bottom bracket shell, thread in the bearings, make sure you do drive side first and then non-drive side, tighten down your bottom bracket. You can then slide your cranks in, tighten them down, you're good to go. Now that the bikes have that much done, all you have to do is slide the wheels in, tighten the wheels down so that they hold their position. When measuring out a chain, what you want to do is you want to leave just enough slack so that when you get a flat in your back wheel, you can just loosen your wheel, push it forward, and you'll be able to take the chain off there and not have to break it. Now that you've measured out the correct length of chain, put the chain back together, adjust its tension accordingly with your back wheel, tighten down the back wheel, you're good to go. Once I have all these steps done, I'll pull the bike down from the stand, make sure that everything is tight and snug so that when you ride down the street, nothing comes loose and causes you to crash or have something fall off. That is just the worst case scenario. So make sure you always double check every nut and bolt on your bike. Now that your bike's ready to go, it's time to go out and have some fun.